Testing. Works. All right. Let me just tweet this link out and then I'll get started with this. Theo, give me 1 second. I'm about to. Okay. So I'm gonna this is a test run, but I'm just gonna do some live analysis. I'm gonna record it for those that can't make it, but just mute this. It's like a 4-second delay, huh? Send this out to the group chat and then we're good to go. tomorrow I'll be more prepared. This is just my first time doing this. All right, let's run it. Let us run it. Where's my OBS? There we go. Let's see. All right, we got a few people in here. I know it's late. I wanted just to quickly analyze SPY and just it's mainly for the test run, right? See if this is working. If there's any issues with my mic or anything, just let me know. I'd appreciate it. Thanks for just hopping in. I know it's late, but been working on this with Ryan and finally got it going. So SPY, nice bounce. If you tuned in for BTB this morning, we noted the rising wedge and how we ended up testing it yesterday and bouncing off of it, right? We also tested it today. So this was a bullish close. Noted that on BTV, bullish close, and what you're looking for is a test up to this trend line, and that's what we got. We closed within. Tomorrow, next 2 days, I think will be pretty volatile. So let's see how this rising wedge plays out. If the market ends up falling through, we're still not in the clear. So if you're looking for downside, you're not in the clear until you do break and hold this trend line. Then you're looking for further downside, mainly up here, down here to this zone. We got, where's my path? Right here. So if we're able to break and hold, come down, test this trend line, get through it, and hold, potential break hook and go. So sometimes you get this, right? You come back, retest this trend line, and then confirm it as resistance and then come through. If we do get a breakthrough and hold, I'll look for this. I'll look to even, I did take a short off of the, a swing short on the indices off of the close. I'm looking for some downside, but at least targeting this trend line, right? I mean, and stop loss would be if we break and hold on the daily, the trend line. So a good RR. But this again, lets you, it just shows you price action over news, right? News is just temporary. And sometimes you get the move on the news that day, but it ends up curving, and the price action always tells the truth, right? And that's what we saw bullish momentum, you're further upside, a nice test on the trend line, and you held support, right? Let me just move this. Yeah. So and we held this the trend line, and then now you got your ripper, right? So price action always, is number one. Whatever news it is, whatever news you get, you might see that temporary move, whether it's on a shorter time frame or a higher time frame, such as the daily. But overall, your price action will play out most of the time, if not all the time, right? Whatever it's showing you and whatever it's telling you, that's how it'll go. For example, when we were over here, right, we ended up, this trend line was never there, but this was a zone I was looking at, and we closed below. What does that tell you for the downside? That's what we got. This was the next target. This area was the next target. We held it, right? We held it. Therefore, when you hold, when you do hold it, right, you're confirming it as support, coming back closing. You're looking for what? Further upside now, right? It's a bullish close, not the strongest, right? There's a strong bullish close and there's a weak bullish close, right? This was a weak one, right? But it's still bullish, and then you end up having a ripper the next day. Same when we actually had a zone draw on here. I ended up removing it, but we had a zone draw on here, and it was this right here. It was actually up here. Yeah, we ended up testing the supply zone, rejecting. We had a hard rejection. It was off of 4. It was 407 of 407.6 to 408.7, something like that. And we ended up testing it and rejecting, but we had a hard rejection, right? We ended up closing at 405.7, and I noted that's a bearish close. Guess what? Next day we got a drop. But we stayed within the trend. We stayed within the wedge, and we tested it in the morning, and then we ripped through, bullish close, again, tested it, and then ripped through, right? whether it was FOMC or not, the price action was telling you upside, and that's what we got. Now the big thing to look out for right now is, do we break and hold the wedge on the daily time frame? So I did take swing puts for I think March 17th expiration on the swing. So if this ends up playing out, I took those far out because if this wedge ends up playing out, this rising wedge ends up playing out, it's a bearish wedge. If it does play out and it comes through and holds, I'm dated pretty far out, so I would look to hold these out for another, week or so. And if my stop loss is what, break and hold out of this wedge, right? Simple. So good area we got it at, right? Nearly at the top of this wedge. Huge. It looked like it was about to rip and just close. We were, once this ended up breaking through this 406.70 right here. I had said this is gonna rip to 412 to 413. We ended up going above 413 slightly, and then right back down. We sold off and closed within the wedge. And you don't like to see that, right? If you're a bull, you don't like to see that. You want to stay above it and you want to close strong, but that still closed within the wedge. And that doesn't mean that for sure we're going to come down, but more than likely I'm leaning towards the downside due to the close, right? You can always, there's nothing 100%, there's nothing guaranteed in the market, but you'll play your candles, you'll play your price action, you'll play your patterns, right? And go about it that way. If you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right. Hey, make some money. And the Qs, let's look at the Qs real quick. Qs as well, they're flagging really not a wedge, but definitely a flag on the Qs here. You also had resistance right up here. You can even draw a zone from this 301 point, let's just say 0.7, up to this 302.65. Nice test, nice rejection. You closed below, right? And then you also hit the trend line. So you're looking for some downside tomorrow. Let's see what we get. And then we have, Thursday, Friday, we have NFP. Thursday after hours, though, those large cap earnings, Amazon, Google, and Apple, I believe. What other names we have? I think Ford as well is after hours on Thursday. But the big names you're watching out for, right? Amazon, Google, and Apple after hours Thursday. So let's see what we get. And we have NFP. Things can turn around. We've seen, crazy moves on FOMC, then reversals. Not that it'll happen, but NFP can definitely flip things. These earnings can, flip the market. We had a nice run up. So let's see if we get some downside on the market. Any questions? I just want to do a little test run. I do want to trade live tomorrow, probably for like the first 2 hours, an hour to 2 hours. We'll see how what the market gives us. If we get some volatility, some nice price action, look to take a trade or two or more. We'll see. Sounds loud and clear. Nice, thanks. Yeah, Stacy, no problem. No problem. I forgot to record this actually, but hey, I'm still getting used to this. I'm not, I mean, a sell-off at open, that's tough to say. But from the daily, from the close on the daily, I do think some downside, right? As long as we stay within the wedge. If we break out and close on the daily, right, we could still make a move to the upside on the daily and sell off. That could happen, right? So we've seen that before where, for example, this, right? This is CPI. We ripped above the linear trend line here. We gapped up above it, right? And we sold off within it. That's bearish. And then look what you got, a drop on the daily, right? So we could open up above it, rip, and then sell off into it. So it's tough to tell, but taking swings off the daily is the way for me. But I mean, it's more of guessing if where it's going to open, how it's going to play out during the day. But your overall close is what you're looking at on the daily. Profits at potentially, who knows? People might, because NFP is coming up, so that might bring things down. Potentially, people might, yeah, profit take tomorrow, if not, already, right? That was a great move today. With Meta earnings, I mean, what's the market up right now? How much is the market up right now? So Dow was red, S&P 13 points, and Nasdaq 120. Um, Not too crazy, but we'll see. I mean, the thing is you can have these moves, but by the bell, a lot of these moves retrace. So we do have huge moves, let's say after hours, right? And the market's ripping, and then you wake up the next day and it had sold off, right? It opens up pretty much flat. So I'm gonna guess, close to flat. I would say the market ends up opening. Um, Maybe some of those tickers end up retracing Tesla, and I think Tesla gapped up too, right? Tesla had to move after hours. That's what I heard. Did not take a look, but I think so. So I do think the market will kind of open flat. We'll see. Maybe a slight gap up. I'd be surprised if we do gap down. But I think either a slight gap up or pretty much flat. Yeah, that's my take on the ER and the market analysis. Um, any questions? Tomorrow, hopefully, I'll be on by the bell. I usually do not take trades within like the first 15 to 30 minutes of the market. I just let price action develop and then I'll play what I see. I do at times, it's rare, but if I see something pretty good, I'll take it. Um, Otherwise, I usually let price action develop and then I'll take a few trades. Yep. All right, guys, if there's nothing else, that'll be it on the analysis. It's a quick analysis, simple, just looking, you're just watching the wedge, seeing where we break out, right? And we'll come back and test. Again, if we do drop, we hold, right? We come bounce and close. What's that telling you? Upside. I'm bullish the next day, right? Because we tested and we held support. And for example, if it comes down tests and closes within the wedge, I'm gonna let's say I end up playing calls, right? And it comes through the next day and closes, which can happen. That's the stop loss, right? We came through. But if it comes down, bounces off again, why not? That's a bounce. That's a bounce. And then today you also tested it. The next, so what you're looking at is right here. I mean, right where we closed, right on the S&P. Where's my? So you probably shade this area right here. Let me do that. That's better. So you got yourself a little supply zone, right about there, down to there. Let's do that. There you go. That'll be it. Your big level you'd want to get through is the top of the. So 412. 412, you want to break and hold for further upside. 412, that's what I would eye. 412 for further upside. Break and hold 412. You can see the drop here, this nasty drop, and then we bounced off of that level. And then once we broke and held through, we dropped, came back up. Guess what? We rejected the level again, and then we gapped down the next day. See how price action tells you? This is probably CPI here, September 13th, probably CPI. But you see how price action tells you what's up? You came, you bounced off the level. You can see it confirmed as good support here. Bounce, got a nice bounce, fell through, closed, and then which is indicative of further downside. And then you got it, right? You got this bounce, came back up, tested it, rejected it, closed below. And then you're looking, well, that's a bearish close. You're looking for further downside, right? And then CPI the next day, and that's what you got. So price action usually gives you a hint, right? So I'd eye 412 as the next key resistance, but you do have a little supply zone up here. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Joe. Yes, I am. Yeah, I am on Hopium. I played it off of potential Powell, right? So I played it off of potential Powell ends up dumping us. Wasn't the case. You really don't expect much from FOMC minutes. That's just it chops, right? Initial reaction, reverses again, and you end up developing a range, right? And usually once it breaks out of that range, that's the direction it ends up taking, and it ended up breaking up to the upside, right? It came down, tested it, and then ended up the lower part of that range, and then it ended up breaking up to the upside and closing, and then that's when it just continued to rip. So that's what you get from FOMC minutes. It gives you that range, and then after that you end up um, ripping through once you get out of that range, right? Whatever direction it is. So, and it's mainly Powell that ends up moving the market. I played puts off of potentially Powell coming dumping us, but as soon as he got on, I think like first few minutes, it looked like we were going to come through, and then reverses, and then the market ripped, and then it broke out of that range to the upside. I was like, oh, that's it, it's going to rip, and it continued to go. But we do have NFP in 2 days, so let's see if that ends up doing something. Maybe tomorrow we get some downside, stay within range. If we do come down, bounce off the trend line, I won't look to long it. I'll just watch it just because we have NFP the next day, and that could break us through the wedge, and this ends up playing out, right? This rising wedge ends up playing out. Rising wedge is bearish, so if it ends up playing out, we'll fall through. Yeah, I think that's it on the analysis here. Some examples of some scenarios that'll play, but let's say it does break through to the upside. Let me go over that real quick. If it does break through to the upside, so if we do get a breakthrough to the upside, let's see what we got up here. You got a nice little, let's line up this level right about there. What is that? 417. So that'll be so after 412, you're looking at 417, maybe even 415.20 to 417 will be your supply. If you like drawing supply and demand zones, maybe from 415.2 to 417. If that ends up, so if we do end up breaking out, if the market ends up ripping, that's your level. You reject, you might get a break, and then a hook back into that 412, confirm it as support, and then you look for new highs, gap fill right here. Gap fill up here. So look for this. 422 is gap fill. But if this ends up happening right here, is if we do break through, come up, test this, reject, close, come through, potentially want to confirm support, right? You want something like this right here, but if it ends up closing below, what are you looking for? Further downside now. Capiche? Capiche, capiche. Yeah, Joshua, no problem, man. No problem. Hoping to cap up. Yeah. Well, hey, if you were in calls earlier, you're up pretty nice. You're up pretty nice. So how's the stream? Is the stream good? Is it clear? So if we got the mic, is it blurry, or I have it pulled up too. It seems fine on my end. Good and clear. All right, awesome. AMC to 8 billion per share. Let's take a look at AMC on the daily. Let's clear this drawings. What do we got on AMC here? You probably, AMC, that broke out. You have a high that broke out, fell through, and then you're looking at this. That's what I'd probably have right there lined up. You never know. Maybe you get that move to 768. Who knows? You have resistance. Yeah, you have really good key resistance up here at 635. That's what I'd watch out for. Right about there. That's good resistance. Iron Condor. Got you. Breakout. Nice. AMC, man. AMC. GameStop here. Look at this resistance right here. This is really good. Yeah, nearly tested it up here. That's a key level. You can see the consolidation, the bounce, the consolidation, bounce, and then you got a fake out here. That's a nasty fake out. This close will lead me to short. This close right here would lead me to short GameStop, but that's a fake out, and then you ended up gapping up the next day, ripping, coming back, and then again, you see how you close, you're looking for a downside, you finally got it the next day, so you got the drop, and then you got the fake out close back up here. So these names are wild. I don't like trading these names. These names are wild. Any thoughts? I don't trade on fibs. A lot of the fibs, I know some of the other head traders, they use fibs, but when I do note their fibs as well, it's usually the key levels, right, that you line up. If you know how to line up your key levels, fibs, I don't use it, but I think fibs are mainly for, where if you're in discovery mode, right? If you're coming up somewhere and there's not any really key levels or any price action you're looking for, where's your next potential resistance, right? Or support that is. I like it, right? But within price action, I have my price action to tell me, where we're going to potentially reject, right, or bounce off of. So usually, yeah, some of the traders use it, but I don't really use fibs. But Fubo, this is resistance right here. You're right at resistance. You can see the above 290, right? You can round it to 3 if you want, but above just because it'll be a psych number. But you can see the consolidation above, below, right? And then break, hook, and then go to the downside. Key level, big level here. Big level, big level. See if you can get through. See if it gets through, holds above here, then you're looking for maybe a break hook and go, something similar to here, drop, come back, and then flow, fall through. Break this out, come back here, and then rip through. But tough, right? It's a strong move up. You're looking for a pullback. Best area for it to pull back is right here at this 290. We'll actually revisit this one. I'm going to set an alert on this one and watch it. But we'll revisit this one. Key level here, yeah, we'll revisit this one. I'll be surprised if it breaks and holds and continues going. And then you got a nice strong upper trend too. You can just draw something like this. If it ends up breaking through, you're looking for downside, and then your lower part. See, I mean, then you got right here key level. So if it does break and hold, what are you targeting? 235 as your support. Tension outside the hold, 5-minute range. Meta possible ID flush. Oh, who knows? Who knows? That was what they had bad earnings and then the buyback, huh? Buyback ripped them. Meta, yeah. Let's take a look at Meta. Let's take a look at Meta. So where did it close at? Let me see. My pleasure. My pleasure. I like analyzing, tickers you guys call out because I can't watch everything, right? And then there's sometimes like Fubo really interests me. So FUBO, that at that level we had mentioned, I set an alert. I'll keep an eye on. If we test and reject that level, I'll take that short. You got a nice ripper. You're probably, I don't know if you're overbought on the daily. Yeah, you're hitting that, right? You're hitting that overbought region on the daily. So let's see if we come up, test this, and fall through and reject. I'll look to play this right as a short. And then you really want to watch this trend line, see if we continue to hold it. But if you end up coming through, or really, you're probably, if you do end up rejecting, you're probably going to come down and test this level right here. It's not far off the trend line next day or two. But let's look at Meta. I forgot to look at where it closed. Let me see. Meta. Wow, 184. My God. So this thing closed up here. You have resistance right there. So I don't think it's gonna open up at 184. It's at 183.99. I don't think it'll open up there. I think it'll come down below. So guess what? This is your key level now. 183.4. 183.4 on the daily. On the daily, you got up to. So longing it, coming, people trying to chase this and long it, that's not too smart, right? You got it up to here. Let's say that. But this is your big level, 183.4. You have a supply region up here up to 187.60. Still a few bucks, right? But you might look, what it might do tomorrow is open below, rip up to into 187.60, hit the top of this supply, and then close below. You get that, that's bearish. If we get that, that's bearish. You can see the nice double top here. Nice rejection. This is a great level here. So if we close above the level but within, I don't like that as a short, right? Because this is the level I'm really watching. But if we test, come up here and test, and then close through, that's bearish to me. So that's a huge pop. My God, those cons. Let's see how much those cons are up. They're probably definitely juiced into earnings. So let's see how much they rip tomorrow. All right, guys, any other questions? I think we'll call it a night, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this. I think this was a good test run. I don't think I need to change anything or edit anything. We'll look to trade tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see. So far, they've been right. They've been right. The market's been ripping. The market's been ripping. Let's see what we get tomorrow, though. Tomorrow will be tomorrow and Friday will be sweet. Let's see what we get then. No problem, Tom. Joe, guys, take care. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.